or a Judas? We'll soon find out.
America is the greatest sin against God.
Barack Obama finally quits his Chicago church as more crazy stuff is coming out of it. We'll have an update.
If you make any apologies at all for this article to anybody that you might have offended.
I make a policy not to explain every bit of satire I've written.
And Al Franken's campaign for the Senate may be falling apart. Body language zeroes in.
Caution, you are about to enter the no-spin zone. The Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for watching us tonight. The Talking Points memo on Barack Obama leaving his church is coming up shortly, but first I want to get right to our lead story tonight. Conversation with former White House spokesman Scott McClellan. For 3 years, Mr. McClellan battled White House reporters putting forth President Bush's point of view. He left that job in April 2006 on good terms, hugs all around. Watch the hug. Here it comes. But that was then. Now, Mr. McClellan's book, What Happened Inside the Bush White House and Washington's Culture of Deception, is being celebrated by anti-Bush people nationwide as justification for their dissent and sometimes their hatred toward the president. Mr. McClellan joins us now. Okay, read your book over the weekend, and you got three primary beefs in the book, and you correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Iraq propaganda, Plame, Valerie Plame, and Katrina. So let's go to Iraq first. Last year, 2007, in April, you were on Bill Maher. Do you remember that program, HBO?
I do remember being on there.
Okay. You defended the Iraq war there and against Maher and Bill Bradley, Senator Bill Bradley, who I thought was going to hit you, by saying, look, we got to win this thing. It's very important to do so. And I was perplexed.
Well,
I mean, you were working on the book at that time.
I think my main... No, actually, I wasn't.
You didn't start writing that book
I didn't start writing until about July of last year. But I was also focusing on exactly one of the things I talk about in this book, which is we got to work in a bipartisan way to support the troops, such as through the Iraq Study Group, which was the Baker-Hamilton Commission. So I was very much focused on...
But you said quite clearly you wanted this Iraq policy to work because it was good for America if it worked.
Absolutely.
That's what you said.
I still believe, and I say in the book that I think we need to succeed there now that we're there. But that doesn't change my views about the build-up to the war and that the war was absolutely unnecessary in retrospect. I think that's very clear.
Unnecessary is a strong word. It certainly was an optional war, as was World War I, Korea, Vietnam. Certainly was that. Unnecessary is your opinion. You're entitled to it. You're an author. But when you have a series of events where the American people, because I mean, I was sitting here analyzing this thing, I was looking at it, and you say, well, the press wasn't aggressive enough. I'm looking at the New York Times having front page stories by Judith Miller saying that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. I had George Tenet on this program. You know what Tenet told me? What did he tell me?
About the weapons of mass destruction?
Yeah, what did he tell me?
That I don't know exactly what he told you, but he told you that he stood by the intelligence.
You want to know exactly what he told me? Roll the tape.
Let me say something very clearly to everybody. We believed he had weapons of mass destruction.
You believed it. Why? Specifically you.
I believe it going back to my time in the Clinton administration when we were concerned about Iraq. I believed on the basis of 10 years of following it, data that we'd seen, his deception, his denial, his thwarting of the UN, I believed it in my core that he had it.
All right. Now, if the director of the CIA believes it, British intelligence believes it, John Kerry believes it, Hillary Clinton believes it, and President Clinton believes it. If they all believe Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction, sir, don't you have a nerve accusing me of not being vigilant enough? Who am I supposed to believe? I got the New York Times. I got the president. I got the prime minister. I got the former president.
Well, let's look at the record. I mean, you go back and look at the record. First of all, the intelligence was wrong. Now, they've looked at whether or not the intelligence analysts were pressured to change the intelligence and found nothing there. But then there's the question of how the intelligence was used to make the case. And my view is, going back and looking at it, that it was packaged together in a way that made it sound more grave, more urgent, and more serious than it was. And I think if you go and look, you had the nuclear threat, and you had intelligence that was combined together, high intelligence or intelligence of high confidence,
okay, but
with intelligence of medium confidence.
All right, 7 years after the fact. I mean, look, if the president, two presidents of the United States sitting, the former CIA guy who works for both presidents, Tony Blair, and the New York Times all tell me and you He's got them. We can't say no, he doesn't.
Well, look at the nuclear intelligence. There wasn't as high a confidence with the nuclear intelligence.
Stay with WMDs.
That is WMD. That is WMD.
But that's not what Powell.
No, but that is WMD.
That's not what Colin Powell presented. He presented a bio.
But does that constitute a grave and gathering danger to the United States? Do you think we were about to be attacked by Iraq?
No.
Yeah.
I don't. But I know that John Kerry, Al Gore,
you think it was a mistake? It may have been justified, and you can argue it on other grounds, but was it necessary?
Look,
and I do not believe it was necessary.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah,
and I don't have any beef with that.
Right.
But the central theme of your book is wrong.
No,
it wasn't,
no.
It's wrong.
The central theme
no,
is
you
is
said
cultural
it was
problem.
Iraq propaganda.
The central theme is that we need to change this permanent campaign culture in Washington. That's it.
Swept that aside.
But you can't sweep that aside. You can't sweep that aside. That's part of. But that's part of this problem with Iraq.
You built this book, Scott, on Iraq propaganda, and I'm telling you that every major civil servant in this country who saw the intelligence,
that's not true.
Well as who dissented?
There were dissenters within the CIA. They've come out publicly. There were certainly dissent. There was dissent at the State Department about the nuclear threat. They said we don't believe that this allows us to make a judgment that it's read the National Intelligence Estimate that he's reconstituting his nuclear weapons program.
Right,
you can't make that judgment.
You're on the nuclear weapons again, and I'm telling you.
Well, but that's what made it so urgent and grave. That's what put it over the top to sell the case, Bill.
No, what put it over the top was Colin Powell at the UN. That's what put it over the top.
The nuclear threat to help make the case.
No.
Colin
put
Powell
it over the top. It was Colin Powell at the UN to the American people, and you're telling me I didn't do my job, and I'm telling you you're crazy.
No, I'm not telling you you didn't do your job.
No, you said that the press wasn't aggressive enough.
Oh, no. I said in the book that there were exceptions. There were some that were aggressive enough, but as a whole, the mainstream media did not press hard enough.
Because of what I just told you.
Because we were in this post-9/11 environment, and I gave the benefit of the doubt, too.
No,
but looking back, it was wrong to do that.
It wasn't a post. It was everyone thought, because Saddam Hussein was telling his own generals, as we now know, that he had weapons of mass destruction.
Because he's a survivalist. He wanted people to believe that not to attack him.
What I'm trying to tell you is you put devious motives into the
No, actually, I said they're good people. We got caught up in this campaign culture.
You said they use propaganda, and that is a loaded word, and that's not honest.
The White House Iraq Group was set up. It's a marketing arm for selling the war. That was the specific purpose.
Selling the war because they fervently believed that the guy was a danger and could hand these weapons off.
No, because the president had a bigger driving motivation, which was transform the Middle East.
You're telling me that President Bush didn't believe he had him?
No, he did too.
Okay.
He believed that too.
That's not propaganda then.
No, it is when you package it all together like he did and oversell it and overstate it to the American people.
Right.
That is propaganda. And when you sell it through their White House Iraq Group.
What's your beef on Karl Rove and Valerie Plame? What's your beef about Rove specifically? Because he works for us.
Well, I spoke with Rove about that very incident, and he told me unequivocally that he was not involved in the leaking of Valerie Plame's identity.
And that's what he told me.
Right.
So you're telling me he's a liar?
Did he reveal Plame's identity to anyone? Yes, Matt Cooper. He revealed her identity. Matt Cooper.
He said Cooper called him.
No, but Cooper wrote. He was the first one to tell me. That was the first time I learned that she worked at the CIA.
You believe Cooper and you don't believe Rove, right?
Rove told me. I asked Rove unequivocally, were you involved in this in any way? He told me no. Now also,
I asked him on this show last week. Did you see him?
Here's a question.
Wait.
Yeah, I read the
Rove.
transcript.
Okay. I asked him, did you tell anybody about Valerie Plame? The guy said no. I didn't. No.
Her name. He said her name. It's a distinction without a difference, Bill. He revealed her identity. He talked to Novak and he talked to Cooper and revealed her identity.
He denies it.
Now let me phrase it this way. Why did he leave that hanging there for 2 years, my words, saying he was not involved in any way, when we now know
because the administration wanted to discredit
him. We now know he was involved.
Okay.
And I don't know whether it's a crime, but it's wrong to do that.
It's not a crime. They would have indicted. Fitzgerald's a very aggressive prosecutor.
He is, I agree.
Now look, Saddam Hussein sent emissaries to Niger. They were not permitted to come in. Okay, you know that. That's a fact, right? So what's the beef? I don't know the beef. If Saddam Hussein's sending guys to Niger and all Niger has is yellow cake, what is your beef?
There was no evidence that he actually acquired uranium from Niger.
He didn't say that. The State of the Union said, quote, the British government has learned that Saddam Hussein recently sought significant quantities of uranium.
And the CIA didn't stand by that because it was based on forged documents.
And then the British Butler report said that's exactly what happened.
The CIA didn't stand by it. The British still stand by it. The CIA doesn't stand by it.
But that's what Bush said. The British government
said. Yes, but the CIA is our intelligence agency, and they told us previously, 3 months earlier, don't use it in a speech for the president.
Let me sum this up by saying you put the worst possible spin on all of this.
No, if I'd said it was sinister and that they intentionally did it, I did not say it was deliberate or conscious. I say that we got caught up in this campaign mentality, and that's what caused us to overstate the case.
Now, you know that every Bush hater in the country is using you and your book to smash this administration. Now, I want to talk to you about that when we come back. Every Bush hater And you're playing right into their hands as using this. Now, I can't
I'm
read
speaking the truth. I mean, from my perspective.
You're
from my
speaking,
perspective,
you're
Bill.
speaking an opinion.
Right, from
an opinion.
Truth.
From your
my
perspective. No, it's not the truth. It's your opinion. And you're entitled to do that.
Right.
But it's your opinion. Okay? You're spinning it negative. But the result of what you did
I mean, I
giving
disagree.
all America haters and all Bush haters all the ammo they want.
I think it will help change the way Washington works, and that's what this book is about more than anything else. That's why I wrote it.
Scott McClellan in a moment, and then Barack Obama finally leaves his Chicago church after more embarrassing anti-American stuff surfaces. We'll have the latest moments away.